So the water pump's been aside all along this job, so now it's time to empty the engine coolant that's inside of it. And now we're gonna test to see if this thing leaks, because very often it happened to me that the water pump leaked. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug this end even tighter. I'm gonna see if I can. No, there's already 2 tie wraps, so that's good enough. So I'm gonna put a bag here, and with a hairspray nozzle I'm gonna shoot compressed air inside. Typically when it leaks, it cracks somewhere around here on the plastic, and you can see kind of bubbles. It's important not to drop these pumps, but it's sometimes, go figure why, I always drop them a bit from a short distance, but seems like there is the balance on it is maybe a bit off, and somehow I get fooled by it and always drop it from a short distance, but sometimes seems like I cracked it. So I'm gonna set it up and show you how to check it. So what you do is you cut a Ziploc bag, freezer one, because they're thicker. Then we're gonna wrap this around the pump. So we cut a square. I'm just gonna wrap it up here. Just want to seal that thing. Then we're gonna insert a nozzle here on this bag. We're gonna seal it by hand. We're gonna spray compressed air in there, and we're gonna look all around to see if this thing leaks. That's what I'm gonna do right now. Just gonna insert this thing here, make a little hole. So you want to set your compressor to maybe about 30 psi. You don't need much. It's just to give a bit of air in there. If you put too much, this thing is all going to blow up your face. So the idea is just to try to squeeze it and see. So I don't think it's cracked, because it would have leaked elsewhere. So I think it's good. It's a good thing to check, because the one I had before that cracked, it happens to me twice. And when it cracks, it's very hard to see, because it's you don't see it, but when you have the pressure inside, it's like this plastic spread apart and you see the leak. So now the this thing pops out, so I think it should be fine, because obviously once this is installed, it's a bit pain in your you know what, to just take it out and replace the whole thing again. So this pump is fine, so I'm about to install it. So now we're up to the last hard thing to do. This is the water pump. This is how it goes on the engine. So you can tell it's like an L-shaped bolt pattern. Obviously there's plenty of room here. If you look, it's a bit hard to see with the camera, but here you got plenty of room to pass it through. So if you go down there, now that the rad is not there, in between this aluminum frame and up front, there's plenty of place to pass the water pump. And then here underneath the cylinder head and the exhaust manifold, there's plenty of room to pass it right there. So I've seen that for some reason some people, they take out the rack and pinion and the sway bar and everything. I think it's way much. Obviously the engine is a bit naked now, but even though you have your thermostat in place, that's by far doable. This is there is the first off, this aluminum pipe here that comes from the turbos, right? It connects here. There's a rubber mount here. You can see the collar there. This thing connects with the pump. So when the pump goes like this, you can see it connects right here up above, right? So the other one that is in the middle is going to connect with this thing here and with the thermostat. So this we're going to handle a bit after. Thermostat's gonna have to be hooked up to this hose here at the bottom. This one is gonna have to connect with the thermostat at this place right here. Okay, so the thermostat, I'm gonna deal with that after. So right now my main goal is to go down there and install this thing. One of the tools I use a lot working on the car is this kind of it's a wrench that has a ratchet thing, so that can be very useful. The E-socket for it that I found for the boat I have is E12. So that's what I'm up to now. I'm gonna go down with the pump and install this thing. So as I said, going from under right here, if you move the hose a little, there's plenty of place to fit that thing in there. Okay, when you do the water pump installation, you want to take out this mine was already taken out, obviously, because I'm rebuilding, but you want to take out this hose that clips here on the rack and pinion on top of it. That gives you room underneath to access and work. So when you insert your pump, the first thing you have to do is to try to show you, but as you know, it's a very cramped space, but I'll try to show you as best as I can. Okay, so when you're gonna insert the pump, really the first task you have to do once it's clearing is you want to get it on that hose. That's the thing that you, well, prior to that you want to locate this collar the way it is right now. Now I'm from the back of the car looking forward up, so you got the connector for the pump here, right? So you want to have this collar on that hand, so you're going to be able to easily access it from underneath if you ever had to remove it in the future. So then you have to kind of push the pump up. The collar by the way is not tightened at this time, it's just loose, so I'm gonna be able to rotate it to a better fit. So once you got the pump in there, in order to insert that bolt here, you have to push the pump up from that way, so it's gonna tilt like that a bit. The pump's gotta tilt. It's gotta tilt like that a bit in order for the boat to align, because right now the boat here, the boat axis is, let's say, like that, but the hole on the pump is like that, so you need to lift it up a bit. You need to use a bit of strength because you're gonna compress this rubber hose here trying to do so, so you might have a bit of a challenge for the first boat to align. So as you can see now, the first one is in. It's still loose, but it's in, so I'm going to be able to put the second one, which is going to be a bit easier, and then the third one that is like the L shape on top of the pump, I'm going to do it from up above. So that's what it is for now. Okay, so now that the second boat is in place, the second boat, by the way, I had to tilt a bit the water pump, so like tilting it a bit like that in order for the boat to align properly, not to damage the treads on it. So you can see the upper boat is a easy access from here. This is where it is, so I'm gonna insert that one right away. These two holes are gonna be needed to bolt in place the thermostat. So right now the two bolts at the bottom they still have a bit of loose, so if ever I need to move a bit the water pump, I'm not gonna get much, but I can get enough sometime to align the boat properly. So the goal for now is just to put the three bolts in place. Once they're in place, I'm just gonna tighten them a little, not too much, make sure in case I forgot anything and I need to remove the pump. It's better practice than to have to replace aluminum bolts. So the three bolts are in place. In order to be able to line up this boat, I had to grab the pump from here and tilt it and move it up and down from that end, using my right hand to do so and the left hand to put the boat in place. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna install this hose here, that one to the bottom part here of the thermostat. So I'm gonna have to check the way it's gonna line up. This should go somewhat like that, right? Because this is gonna go like that, somewhat like that. This hose here, I like to call it the Mickey Mouse. The Mickey Mouse thing goes right here by the oil filter housing, just underneath the connector. That I'm gonna do at last. So yeah, that should go. This is gonna go like that, sorry. Yeah, because of this hose here that fell off. Because this one is gonna connect this one and the water pump from up front. So this is gonna go like that once it's gonna be bolted in place, right? So it tells you how this hose goes. So that means that this hose at the bottom, it's got to unfold going up like that, which makes sense because this end of it, these are the oil cooler hose hanging, because this hose here is going to be going to the engine coolant reservoir tank. So yeah, this is going like that. The pipe connection up toward the rear. So this thing's got to connect with this this one at the bottom with the wet rag in there. So that's what I'm up to now. It's always good to put either drop of oil or engine coolant to the O-ring inside of that connector. If you remove the rag, you will see there's an O-ring inside, because you wanna make sure not to cut the O-ring when you're gonna push the hose, so you want it to be able to slide in place. Okay, so now that the hose is connected down there, this hose right there, now it's going to be time to think about connecting the thermostat to the water pump. But in order to do so, we got to get this wiring closer to it. So first off, this is the connector for the water pump. On this pack of wire you have also two others, which is this one is for the square one with the red strip of rubber, the two pin connector. This is for the thermostat, and this one here is a ground, and this is a bracket. The bracket's gonna connect here on the ridge right there. There is a ridge. So this is where the thing gonna connect. The ground is this bolt here at the bottom. And if you look at the crankshaft pulley here, there's a bolt down there. This is for the ground. This hole here, this is for this plastic thing here. There's a bolt that goes in the hole here. This hole here is to clip the wiring, this thing here. So and this round part is going on the round part of the engine there. It's round here, so this is where it goes. So the plastic thing can wait. So for now it's going to be to get the wiring closer, connect the thermostat, check to see how it's going to connect with the water pump, because we might have to get the wiring in between the thermostat and the pump prior to bolt the pump in place. The bolts for the water pump are this kind of bolt here, or this one, it's about the same. So this is the kind of bolt that connects the water pump to the thermostat to the water pump, and this is the bolt that goes for this plastic thing, right? So for now, going down there with the wiring, connect the thermostat, see how it's gonna fit with the electrical connector, if it's gotta go first prior to connect the two, because it has to fit in between. And lastly, once this is all done, we're gonna connect this thing. So it's a bit cramped, but this is where your wiring should go, right? It's going, I don't know if you can see, but it's right here. 1, 2. It's going up front this hose, the big hose that connects with the big rubber hose that connects with the aluminum pipe that goes to the turbos. So this is where the wiring goes, right here in between, right? So once it's going there, let me try to show you better maybe. Yeah, you can see it better here. So they're both going there. So this is the one connecting to the thermostat. The other two here, these two here, are to the connector of the water pump. So this is in place. The bolts for the thermostat are the longest one. You got two sets of bolts that are almost the same. The shorter one I'm going to use for the Mickey Mouse to hook it up. Okay, so again on that cram space, so here's the connector to the water pump that goes in here. Thermostat, I'm going to try to show you, but it's going to be difficult. It's this one here, so you can see, you can see the wiring here. It's connected. It's like a square. Hold on. It's this square connector right there. So once your wiring is good, then you need to line up these two threaded bushing with the two holes right here. You got one here and the other one just above. So you just line these behind these two holes that are to the water pump, because the threads are in the thermostat. And when you're gonna torque it, you just want to make sure that the wiring is not gonna get squeezed in between the two, but this is where the wiring should go. Okay, one little mistake, just want to mention. The wiring for the thermostat is here. It's going right there in between the thermostat and the water pump, but from the rear of it. Let me try to show you better. So it's this wire right there that goes for the thermostat. So you fit it in between the connector there and the water pump. So that gives you enough room for this one here that goes in that clip. This clip is on the ridge there, right? And you just hook up the wiring here and it goes right there for the ground. So now that this is done, it's going to be time to put on the little hose, this black hose there, in between the thermostat and the water pump. Okay, so now the idea is you wanna keep the thermostat a bit loose, so you can play a bit with it, because you're gonna need to play a bit with it in order to fit the hose there. Else your hose is gonna be squeezed and it's not gonna be able to fit because of the rubber hose that connects to the aluminum pipe that goes to the turbo. So once there it's a bit loose, you're gonna be able to, with the two bolts, if you keep them a bit loose, you're gonna be able to fit your pipe that connects these two together, right? So you want to have this collar down there just above the connector for the water pump, so then you're going to be able to tighten it up. It's a 6mm socket. So next step is to go there and fit your hose. Your hose gonna go with the it has like a curve. The curve has got to go up, so you just slide it in there. Right, and what's the important there I want to show you is the way to set up your collar. So the collar has got to go, this one is gonna go facing down, the one that's going here, it's gonna face down on that side, on the engine side. And the other one, it depends, you can either, but it's got to go basically around this spot like it is right now. So it gives you an idea how to set your collars. So it's kind of a down, but sometimes with an angle, so you can access it going that way with a tool. So basically this is what's left to do. So torque the one up above that is behind the connector of the water pump. And it's hard to see with the light. Yeah, so this one there up above. So once this one is torqued, you set the hose that goes between the water pump and the thermostat, tighten the two collars, plug the water pump, then it's final torque to the thermostat and the water pump. Then it's final torque to the water pump. I personally just torque it by with a ratchet without over torquing. So in order to torque that boat, you need to remove this clip bracket. If you have installed it like I did, I forgot. And this is the tool I use to torque this thing. It's because it's a compact place now with all the wiring and all. So this wire there has been connected to the plastic thing there. So now the water pump is on and the thermostat is on. This is a big part of the game.